Hi everyone, welcome back. So this time we're talking about feature control frames. Feature control frames. That's this thing. I know you've already seen it a little bit, but look at this right here. There are several sections to a feature control frame. There's a geometric characteristic symbol, or a tolerance symbol. That's the one we're going to be talking about a lot. We're going to learn all of those by heart. When I say all of them, we're not going to learn literally all of them. There are others, just lesser used ones. And there's our tolerance value that tells me how much this particular thing can vary. Then how am I measuring it and where am I measuring it from? Now, what's the size on this? Well, it's twice the font height, okay? It's twice the font height for the rest of the page. Now, there is a lot more that can go in here. You can actually have multi-line where you have a second line underneath this. You can have composite feature control frames, and we're going to be seeing a lot of those as we get further on. Now let's look at some of these names here. First off, the order does matter. This one's the most important, second most important, third most important. Primary, secondary, tertiary. Each of them is going to get rid of some way that the part can move. For example, if your part's floating in space, it can turn any way it wants to, and it can move any direction it wants to. As soon as we set it down on a table though, well, it now can no longer rotate in two directions, and it can't move up and down anymore. If we had another boundary, well, now it can't rotate in any direction, and it can only move it can only move back and forth towards the page or away from it. And if we then add a third wall, in the background blocking it, well, now it can't move anywhere. We're assuming that, it doesn't ever move away from a wall. If it's touching a wall, it's stuck to it. So what your datums are very important. We'll get those in chapter 6. We're looking at these, we always read it left to right. We go that direction. And the amount of information you see is all going to be based on how much control you particularly want. Now, how does it look? Well, if it's an orthographic view, right here, you can see that it can terminate with a dot. It's always going to terminate with a dot. It will be in the plane of whatever it is controlling, either perpendicular to it or parallel to it. Either way works. It just depends on what view you want to show it in. I'm not going to make you do this in class, though you can do that with tools like SolidWorks or AutoCAD. What you are going to have to do is this. Now this shows you how to apply it to a surface. Okay? I can either use an arrow, I can apply it onto this particular front surface by putting a little dot to show I'm connecting to the dot. I can attach it to this extension line, or above or below, and I would say that it's applying to the top surface. These extension lines would say that it's applying to this side surface. So wherever I'm touching or angling from, that's what it's controlling. This line comes from this surface, that surface is controlled. This line comes from this surface, that surface is controlled. A little dot is on this surface, so whatever this theoretical dot surface will be, that's controlled. So whatever I'm touching, that is what is being controlled by that particular feature control frame. Now about those features of size. Well, features of size have volume. They're three-dimensional things. They're not those 2D surfaces. And normally they're placed adjacent to our size dimension or possibly to a thread specification. So you see right here, we have our thread specification, and we would put our feature control frame next to it. Okay? If I wanted to, though, I don't have to do that. I can also attach my feature control frame directly to the hole that's being controlled. Notice how it's going to the edge of that hole. It is not going to the axis of that hole. This feature control frame, at least here for position, is only touching that circular edge. Okay? Be very careful about where you place your arrow. Placing it on the axis is incorrect. Now, I can also do something very similar when it talks to like a slot like this. I can attach it to the size dimension, putting it right underneath, or if I wanted to, I could attach it directly to this dimension right here, these extension lines. Now, this may look very similar to what we saw earlier, like, well, why is this different? If I'm looking at it from the side, isn't that the same thing as me attaching it like this? No, those are two different things. Having this arrow going to the extension line says this is for the feature of size. Having it just attached to the extension line says I'm only doing this particular surface. We're looking at 3D. So make sure that you're doing what is the standard. You have to look at the standard to understand how people are going to read what you are showing them. But that's all for the day. You will get plenty of experience with feature control frames. This is really just getting kind of like a huge overview of everything. I'm showing you every single symbol we're going to run into. So, thanks for listening. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.